Hello, and welcome to Blackboard Rants. I'm Tyler,
And I'm John.
and today we're going to start off our usual with hot sauce shots. John, what are we taking today? What are you torturing me with today?
This one is called Tiger Sauce.
Tiger sauce.
Now, I've never had it before. And it says the original Tiger Sauce is an exotic, moderately spicy blend of ingredients and a cayenne pepper base with a touch of sweet and sour. It's good on chicken, fish, meat, whatnot. Tiger Sauce. Wow.
That sounds like a really bad pitch. I'll buy it from him. He seems like a sorry bastard.
I'd buy that for $1.
I'd buy that for $1.
It costs $2. I won't buy it.
I actually never had this before.
Yeah, we're kind of running out of sauces that are available locally.
Yeah, so pretty soon we're probably going to have to start...
I'm kind of waiting to put you into the hotter category, too. So.
Let's do it. Okay, before... It's got that vinegary.
Yeah, it smells vinegary. It doesn't smell very sweet and sour.
It looks like, too, I'm not be able to show it to you, but there's like some peppers in here, too, as well.
Yeah.
All right.
You can taste that sweet and sour, though.
It's a little chunky. You probably could just because of the pepper. It does have that sour. It's starting to start right now in the back of my throat, but in the forefront, it has just that sweet and sour, and actually really good. That's really good hot sauce.
Yeah, that would go pretty good with lots of stuff.
Again, tiger sauce.
Wow.
Okay.
And like I said, soon we're going to get into the really hot stuff. And then maybe, if I feel like it, I have a cookbook for cooking your own hot sauces.
Oh.
So maybe I'll mix up a batch of special one of these times.
Special. Fuck. He's going to murder me. Okay, so we got tons of stuff for you today. The first thing we're going to get into is the Star Wars news. And the first thing is there's going to be a Star Wars movie every year, like we talked about. So there's going to be this Star Wars, a spin-off.
Episode 7 comes out this year.
Yep.
And then next year, the first spin-off movie will come out, which isn't numbered.
Right.
Then after that, then it'll go to episode 8 in 2017.
Yep.
And then another spin-off, then episode 9, and then another spin-off, and then I think they're going to keep going now. They're going to have more numbers and more spin-offs until
Disney's going to cash in on this until they can't anymore. And what's the name of the first spin-off?
The first spin-off, it was announced the name is Rogue One.
Right. And the first spin-off is going to be released here December 16th of this year, right?
No, next year's a spin-off.
Next year?
This year's The Force Awakens.
Right.
Which is it's the continuation 30-some years after Return of the Jedi.
That's December 18th, by the way.
Yeah, and it's got Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford returning as Luke Skywalker and Han Solo.
Right.
And then some new characters.
And we also found out too that episode 8 is going to be released May 26th of 2017.
Yeah, going back to that May slot, that the first 6 Star Wars were all released in May, and that release date for episode 8 is actually 40 years to the day.
Wow.
After the release of the original Star Wars in theaters.
Wow. And also too, Disney is going to be releasing 20 books before the release of The Force Awakens, and so me and you kind of were trying to figure it out. It's like a 30-some odd year gap that they're going to try to fill. So I know all we know is that there's going to be adult books, books for adults, not porn. There's going to be a teenage or a young adult thing, and there's going to be like some kids like coloring books and whatnot. And
yeah, we're just not sure if within that 20. If every single coloring book that comes out is counted as well, it's one of the 20. So you have like 15 different kids' coloring books. Those each count as one, and then there's only 5 different regular books.
Right.
But I guess it's just to catch you up because, like you said, it's been 30 years in the universe and
everybody's going to know what's going on
since Return of the Jedi came out. So that one even makes me feel old because that came out the same year I was born. So I mean, you think I'm old? It didn't. It only came out the first year of my life. That's how long it's been since the last actual real Star Wars movie that wasn't a prequel.
Right. Okay, so like I said before, Star Wars Force Awakens has official release date. If we failed to say, it's going to be December 18th of this year. And
I'm just waiting.
And then Rogue One's going to be coming out December 16th of next year.
Yep.
And episode 8 is going to be May 26th of 2017. Okay, and so moving on. Green Lantern news. There's been some rumored castings for
rumor, not news. Rumor.
Of who should be in the next Justice League because, and hint, it's not going to be Ryan Reynolds. And so, like I said before, there's going to be a Justice League movie coming up, and they're going to want to do Green Lantern. And so, some rumored cast is going to be Common, who's the rapper Common.
Who he was actually signed up to play Green Lantern in the last iteration of when they were going to do a Justice League before they did Man of Steel. That fell apart during a writer's strike.
Oh, wow.
So he was actually signed up for it already
that's
in 2007, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So him being attached again is just, par for the course, I guess, if he was already attached to it.
Right. And the second one is to be Tyrese Gibson, the guy from the Fast and Furious movies. And Chris Pine, yes, Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
Who is also be featuring, who if he would be cast, it would be Hal Jordan, we believe. And the two other guys, we don't know, might be a different
well, it
character.
Would be Jonathan Stewart.
Or John Stewart, maybe, we don't know, because like in Age of Ultron, they decided to alter the story of Ultron's backstory, so we don't know what's happening.
So which one would you like to see?
Well, For one, I don't know much about Common's acting skills.
He was good. He was on Hell on Wheels.
Oh, okay.
He was
all right.
really good on that. And then I heard he was really good in Selma. Haven't seen that yet.
Right. And Tyrese Gibson, I really don't know how he would do. And as far as Chris Pine, I really don't know either. But if I really had to choose,
well, which version of Green Lantern do you want to see?
Well, I grew up with John Stewart character from watching Justice League, and I guess anybody who will probably be playing him. And I know Hell on Wheels is a pretty serious movie, and so therefore they'll be taking this very seriously. I guess I would say Common, and so now that I've said that, I have to go on YouTube or something to find some acting reel of his.
Yeah, he was just. I didn't think he was going to be that good when I started watching Hell on Wheels, but he was good.
Right.
And even though my favorite Green Lantern is the Hal Jordan Green Lantern.
Right.
Growing up in the '80s, where he's got that nice sleek suit and everything.
Right.
I just love that. But I agree, John Stewart is what a lot of the younger people associate with the Green Lantern now, because that they go and watch the cartoons.
Right.
And in the cartoons, that's who it is.
Right.
So I think that would be a pretty smart move by him.
Right.
I mean, when they tried to put Hal Jordan in a cartoon,
they pretty much got to reintroduce the character.
They got one season of a Hal Jordan Green Lantern cartoon a few years ago.
Really?
And it was like this computer animation, and it was not interesting to me. My niece watched the whole thing, but
right.
So I too would like to see what Common could do with it if they were going the John Stewart route, because he really got me with Hell on Wheels.
Right. Yeah. I mean, as far as that, I'm just excited. I'm just can't wait to see what they're going to do with it. All right, moving on. John's favorite movie is going to have a sequel. We're talking about Frozen 2. Yesterday has been announced that the sequel is either in development or it's going to be in development. And, what are your thoughts on that, my good sir?
Well, it was announced, and yes, my nieces and my nephew all love Frozen. Let it go! Let it go. I haven't been able to sit through the whole thing. I know a lot of adults do like it. I'm not one of those people. And it just got me thinking about the whole what you let your kids watch. My sister, her son, his favorite show in the world is Yo Gabba Gabba, which is so annoying and so freakish. And my sister complains all the time, oh, he has to watch Yo Gabba Gabba. Why does he have to watch Yo Gabba Gabba? She's the one who showed it to him. He was like 1 year old when she started, younger than one, when he started watching it. It's not like he was sitting there flipping through the channels, reading the guide, like, yes, this piques my interest.
Yes.
I think I'll watch this show, mother.
From my young mind.
Yeah.
This will boost my intelligence.
It seems to have a nice story, yes. Oh, I recognize that actor from a previous project.
Yo Gabba Gabba, very sophisticated.
Yeah. It's not like that happened. When my nieces and my nephew are by me, I say, no, you're not watching any princess crap.
You're watching superheroes.
Yeah, you watch Spider-Man, you watch Justice League.
Right.
That's what you do with me. That's what you do with Uncle John.
You know what, though, too? I got that tip from you because my oldest niece, Tara Lee, she's 6, going on 7, and she loves watching Daniel Tiger. And I told her, know what? You ain't watching this no more with me. You're going to get away with it just once. And now you're going to watch Batman. You're gonna there's Batman, Brave and the Bold. I liked it. And I said, know what? Next time you're with me, you're watching Netflix, you're watching that. And I actually got a funny story about Frozen. When it first came out, my fiance and I were down in Vegas by her sister-in-law. My soon-to-be sister-in-law, her sister. And so we all decided to go out to a outdoor theater. It's going to be nice out. It'd be a nice, cool night. And so my brother-in-law decided, well, hey, let's go pick up some beer. I said, okay. So we did. I was pretty much almost halfway in the can when we were watching that movie, and I still remember that Let It Go, and ever since that movie was a huge hit, that freaking song was on fucking Facebook every other day. I seen it, and yeah, so I don't know why people let their kids watch such weird movies. I mean, I know when I was growing up, there were some messed up cartoons, but
Oh yeah, when I was a kid in kindergarten, my Halloween costume was RoboCop. RoboCop gets his dick shot off in like the first 10 minutes of the movie. And then you see him in surgery and he's all messed up, and then he goes and he shoots other guys' dicks off, and this is what I was watching when I was a kid. One of my first movie memories is the Lethal Weapon opening scene with the woman in the sheer clothes with her breasts showing, doing cocaine, going out the window and crash landing on a car. That's what I watched when I was a kid. I mean, I watched cartoons too.
you turned out all right.
I watched Voltron and I watched,
Right.
I watched cartoons, but there was no, I know people with young kids and they're like, oh, we don't let Timmy watch that show. It's too scary. He has to leave the room if we're watching this show that's on TV. And I'm like, no, I was watching rated R movies. The kid doesn't have to leave. I'm a strong believer in if there's a lot of cussing,
Right.
get the kid out of the room. But not violence.
Right.
They know that it's fake. And
It depends who the kid is until they try
maybe.
until they try shooting somebody's dicks off. Uncle John, guess what?
Yeah, my nieces aren't allowed to play with toy guns, but
Right.
yet me and my brother, we had not only toy guns, but we had those toy guns that you couldn't tell that they were fake. I had this little revolver, which I actually am still upset about this. My older brother was being mean to my younger brother, so my oldest sister took my little revolver and smacked. It was a metal revolver.
Holy crap!
Smacked my brother over the head with it and broke the handle off.
And he had a concussion, but he turned out to be just fine. Oh, dude, that's crazy, man. Can you imagine that cop's like, shoot that boy? Oh.
Yeah, in my day, all your fake guns looked real, and there were no cops going around shooting kids.
Right.
And
we're getting political now, people.
And there was, we were allowed to watch whatever we wanted on the TV.
Right.
And now my nieces, you would say, well, they want to watch those princess shows. Well, they do because that's what their parents tell them they want to watch. But
right, and that's the only thing that they're able to watch.
They come over by Uncle John. They're fighting over the Iron Man toys, the Spider-Man toys. They're telling me stories they made up about Spider-Man and Batman. I mean, they love it. They have capes that they wear, and I don't tell them that they have to be. You have to be Supergirl because you're a girl. They
Right.
can be Superman.
Right. Exactly. It
You know,
doesn't matter.
and so I think that's a lot stronger message than saying
Right.
you're going to be a princess because you're a girl, so be a princess. No, you can be Superman, you can be Batman, or you can be Wonder Woman. It's your choice. You don't have
Right.
to be a princess. Tear down, tear down the tyranny. Get rid of princesses.
That's our banner. Tear down the tyranny.
Yeah,
John Kupski.
I am actually. Now that would be a whole other rant that I have about showing kids that that royalty is a good idea and that we should have monarchy. That's a whole different rant that could go on. But so let's move on to our next
Okay,
topic here.
so comic books and audiobooks are being able to be rented out from the library. That's right. The library is renting out, or checking out, I should say, audiobooks and comic books.
Yeah, I found this out last summer. Like we talked about before, it's kind of hard for us to get our hands on
Right.
books around here. But I found out you can get them through your local library. And not only can you get the books, but you can get the audio.
Oh, okay.
And we did that last summer on our trip. We drove out to Montana to spread some of my dad's ashes. And that was, we were driving for several days straight. So you got to listen to something. You're going to be going through so many radio stations. It's better to have a
Right.
book on tape or something. So we had the Civil War, Marvel Civil War, and Crisis on Infinite Earths. And we listened to those, and you get them for free from your local library, and you can read the books or listen to the stories and get caught up on stuff without having to pay. That's good. And
Right.
I told you, going back to letting my nieces choose what they want, they were sitting there listening to these audiobooks with us,
Right.
and in the Crisis on Infinite Earths, you have the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor fighting over trying to destroy the universe, and Supergirl gets killed. And a few months later, I was sitting with my niece, and she's like, "Okay, tell me a scary." I tell her about the Flash running so fast that he disintegrates. And she's like, "Oh, that's scary. I'm going to tell you a scary story now." Okay? And she goes on to tell me about the Monitor tricking Superman and the Flash and killing Supergirl, which was from this
Right.
audiobook that was just playing. She barely listened to it. She was running around playing with the other girls in the motorhome and everything. But she remembered it. And it was something that I guess she was entertained by, that she held on to that and was like,
Right.
"This is the scary story I'll tell." And also my niece is, everybody else tries to treat them like girls, and I just let them
Right.
be who they are.
Exactly.
So I'm the only one that lets them play rough. They come up to me and they start
Yep.
punching me or whatever. And then somebody will go, "Oh, leave Uncle John alone." And they'll go, "But he's the only one that lets us play rough."
You know what though too? That is how my fiance's niece is too. When we were down Vegas, every time she saw me, she would tackle me. She would try. Every time I wasn't looking, she'd pick up something, and then she would try to hit me. Except her dad caught her. Her dad caught her the only time she tried doing it, and it's crazy. But something I just came up, and if you could try to have a quick answer for it. If somebody like me wanted to say catch up on or start reading Captain America books, since there's so many different continuities in the books, what would your advice be to where to start and kind of give the idea?
Captain America, I never got to read much of him because
Or just use like any superhero example that you've been reading or following since you were a kid or as of late. What would your advice be to me if I said, okay, I want to read a comic book or a superhero? Who'd you recommend, and how would I start since there's different continuities going on?
I guess now you'd have to go with, if you want to start now and be able to, keep reading into the future, you're going to have to start with what's current, and that would be the New 52 for DC or the Ultimate storylines in Marvel. Because going forward, that's what's going to be the storylines that'll happen. Otherwise, you can go out and you can grab the book versions of certain arcs, like Civil War,
Okay.
or, some Frank Miller, the Dark Knight stuff, and you can do that. Some of my favorite arcs are those ones I just mentioned, and the Nightfall series in Batman, where Batman gets his back broken, like kind of like the third Batman movie from Chris Nolan, but not really. And then he has Jean-Paul Valley take over as Batman, and then Jean-Paul Valley goes nuts and starts killing people, and so Batman has to come back and fight him and restore the mantle of the Bat. So those are some of the storylines I would start off reading. There's some pretty good ones. Or if you just want to start at the beginning, go to Year One with Batman.
Okay.
The Year One book, you read that, and it tells you a lot of the origin stuff in there. So.
All right. Okay, so move on. Ghostbusters. We know now that there's a Ghostbusters movie in development starring Melissa McCarthy and Kirsten Wiig and a couple other ladies from Saturday Night
Yeah,
Live.
all female cast for that one.
Now, this has been going on for at least at least like a week now. There's an all-male cast.
Well,
go ahead.
They're saying it's not going to be an all-male cast, but it will be starring Channing Tatum, and Chris Pratt is rumored also to be on that project. So it's going to be in the same universe as the all-female one,
Okay.
but different, and they're going to cross them over at some point. I love Ghostbusters as a kid, and I still watch the movies, but I'm just not very interested in this.
Right.
But the reason I wanted to bring up this topic was to talk about, do you believe in no ghosts? That was pretty corny, huh?
A little bit.
But, so what are your thoughts on actual paranormal?
How I view the paranormal is, I want to believe in ghosts, but I can't believe them until something happens that I experience, and until I see some physical evidence, and to me to look into it and try to figure it out for myself. Now, to watch the paranormal shows like Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters, that's just for like straight up entertainment. I mean, anybody can just say, well, oh, that's all made up, or vice versa. Oh, it's all real. But it's a show. It's on TV. It's for your entertainment. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I'm such a skeptic that I'm skeptical about I don't
Spit it out, Junior.
I don't believe everything I'm told, even the things that I'm told to believe. I'm willing to give anything a chance, because everything is possible, not much is probable.
Right.
It's an infinite universe out there, and everything is possible, but what's probable to happen is what's most likely to happen. And I'm interested in looking at some of this evidence,
Right.
because if ghosts are real, that would be, a
Right.
big thing. So why just right away offhand say ghosts aren't real, so I'm not going to look at any evidence?
Right.
Just do it for fun.
Right.
I have this picture here that
Oh,
we're
yes.
showing.
Yep. Yep.
I was right outside my house,
We can power enlarge in it right now.
and it was this great purple morning.
Yeah,
So I'm
it actually looks really, really nice.
yeah,
actually.
so I'm like, I'm going to go outside and take some pictures. So I
Right.
snapped off a few in a row. Here's the first one.
Yeah, right here. That's nice.
Here's the second one. What the hell is that?
Slime.
It's like the exact same shape as Slimer from Ghostbusters. And then I didn't see this as I was shooting it, and then I shot the next picture. Here's the next picture. So you can see it's this weird anomaly
Right.
that I can't explain, even in video terms, because if it were a light fragment on that kind of lens that I was using, it would have been diamond shaped.
Okay.
It wouldn't have been that blob
Right.
that it is.
And mind you, guys, if any of you are saying, "Oh, well, that's a water particle," we are not lying. We did not do anything to this photo.
Oh.
Nothing at all. The water that our studio is in front of does not move. It moves a tad bit, but not enough to where water particles are splashing everywhere, and you're like, I'm getting all wet. Nothing.
Yeah, and if it would have been water particle on the lens, it would have showed up in the next picture, because I didn't wipe the lens or anything.
Right.
I was just shooting successive pictures. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's a ghost.
Right.
I'm just saying it's interesting.
We're going interactive now, people. Think what you want to think, and if you want, just go ahead and comment and tell us what you think of this.
You think it's a ghost? And also, apparently there was somebody at some point who jumped off that railroad bridge and died.
Oh, okay.
So I've been told, in the annals of history somewhere, it happened
The
once.
anals or the annals?
Wherever. Whichever's more comfortable for you, I guess.
And
then another thing I found was they do those audio things all the time where the ghost spoke to us, we can hear it.
EVPs.
Yeah, and just like with that last picture where I can explain most video artifacts, because that's my space. I work in video and audio.
Right.
And then these EVPs, there's usually an explanation. One great one that I had was I was doing this wedding video, and all I heard come up on the groom's mic was, "Get out!" And I'm like, what the hell was that? So I captured that little piece of audio and took it for some different people to listen to, and they're like, yeah, that sounds creepy. That sounds like a demon saying, "Get out." I'm like, yeah, it does.
This is in the church, by the way.
Yeah, it's in a church. So I go back to my computer, and I'm looking around at the files, and I look at the audio from all the different cameras, because it was a 3-camera shoot. And lo and behold, when I got all the evidence lined up, there was a baby in the back of the church that coughed. And the way it echoed and bounced throughout the church till it got to that mic on the groom turned it from to "Get out." So don't believe everything you hear.
Right.
But I am interested if there's something I can't find an explanation to, I'll list that as maybe it's evidence.
Right.
But you got to also look for the actual evidence. There is one instance that I just can't explain, was when I was younger, me, my mom, and my oldest sister were in the kitchen at the house.
Right.
And my other sister was gone to cheerleading practice. But I didn't know that at the time, and I heard her say, "Mom, Mom, Mom!" And I look over, there she is, and my other sister goes, "Shut up!" And then my mom says, "She isn't even here. What's going on?" And I look back, and she's not there, and then my mom freaked out, went down to school and got her, and I saw her, I heard her. She wasn't a ghost, because she wasn't dead. But it was an actual thing that happened that I can't explain.
Wow.
And then, I suppose this will let you tell your story about what movie scares you the most.
Oh.
I had this big stereo where when you turn the remote, the little wheel for the volume would turn as you turn the remote. And I'm watching the Nicole Kidman movie, The Others. And I'm sitting down, getting ready. It's not a very scary movie, but all of a sudden, I see the dial go. The volume turns itself all the way down. Grab the remote, turn it back up. I'm like, whatever, the remote just freaked out. Does it again. So then I take the remote batteries out and I go up and I turn it up and I go sit back down. Does it again. Did it like 5 times.
Holy crap.
And where it's just like, I turn the volume up and then I go sit down and you can just see it go down. So even though that movie wasn't scary at all, that was one of the scariest moments I had watching a movie. Just because I was alone in my house in the middle of the woods.
Right.
Watching that dial turn all by itself. And, it was just a motor malfunction, I'm guessing,
Right.
But it never happened before or after. Just that one night.
Wow. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Do you think it's a ghost? Okay, well, I guess my scariest moment while watching the movie was... it was a late 90s movie. It was called Powder. I don't know if anybody remembers this.
Powder.
But I remember in the opening scene, he's down in the basement, people coming down to get him, and he's sitting in a corner.
He's an albino.
He's an albino, and he's putting his head up, he's bald, and I'm sitting there, I have no idea how old I was small. I was sitting there, I'm just looking at it, and I guess it must have scared the living shit out of me, and to where my sister and my parents would threaten me. They say that Powder's coming to get you if you don't do this, or Powder's going to get you if you don't eat all your spaghetti. And so I'd be sitting in bed, getting myself all paranoid. Every little noise I would hear, it's like, it's fucking Powder. That motherfucker's coming after me.
Well,
I'm gonna shoot his dick off.
I talked about how I was allowed to watch pretty much anything when I was a kid.
Right.
Except for Friday the 13th and the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. We weren't allowed to watch. We did sneak in a few viewings every now and then.
Right.
But my little brother was afraid of Freddy Krueger. But he got confused in his head, Freddy Krueger and Eddie Murphy. So we told him Freddy Krueger lived in the basement. So then he would run around the house, Eddie Murphy lives in the basement, he's coming to get me. We still make fun of him to this day for it.
Oh, Cletus, what are you doing down in the basement? Oh, man. That's awesome. Oh, okay, so, well, is there anything else we got to cover today, John?
No, I believe that is all.
All right, well, see you later. Remember, like us on Facebook, Twitter, the Tweeter,
We're
whatever.
tweetering at Blackboard Rants, and
Yep.
we're on Facebook as
Yes, we
Pyramid
are.
Genius. And,
Yes, we is.
I saw that somebody subscribed. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we got a subscriber.
We got several subscribers.
You never told me this.
Oh, well, I'm telling you now.
What the